Hey everyone, welcome to the Sith Dominion episode 12. And we are talking about Bastila Shan tonight. And with me is the most wonderful eight. You just told me, and I don't it's Miss Cat, but what's
social media
Cat? So,
Yeah.
so apparently we just keep saying things and keep heaping different words onto Cat, and I don't want to do that. I want to be as accurate as possible. So let me try this again. And with me tonight, has been on several other shows, is the wonderful does everything for Dana so he doesn't have to. Cat.
Dude, you still gotta shoot your shows. I mean, I create a few graphics, I throw some things together,
Oh man, I had such an unreasonable.
pretty.
It was unreasonable, the request I had the other day. I was like, oh my God, like something that clearly took hours to put together, piece together. I'm going to throw this name out. I'm going to have to go back to the description. Anxious Angie had invited me on to a podcast. She's a TikTok friend of mine. She has her own podcast on TikTok. She actually had, I promote her show on my TikTok. She had one of the writers from LucasArts on her show. But I couldn't make that show. She had asked if and I was, oh my God, I have to go to a sports ball game. But it was cool. It was women's volleyball, and I love volleyball, so it was amazing. But anyhow, yeah. So what have you been up to, Kat? You haven't been on the show in like 3 weeks. How you doing?
Doing good. I mean, we are just doing what we're doing. We got the writers cranking out articles. We've got all kinds of fun social media stuff going on. We've got our new channel, The Hobby Hut, which is like some ASMR stuff. Like Lego building and miniature painting. Like, this is my last little guy I painted.
Oh my God, it's fantastic.
He's a giant space hamster.
Oh my
God. But yeah, so I mean, not much. Just living the dream.
So I was watching one of David Furr was building a house, or I don't know what it was, on his Lego build, and I just couldn't help but think, like, why didn't I think of that? Like, hey babe. Do you think I could buy some Legos and build them for, a podcast or YouTube? I would probably get a no, but I would at least try. I didn't even think of that.
Well, he's a huge Lego maniac. And, he has all these sets. And the one that you were probably watching was when he was building the Disney Up house.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, he'd gotten a few new sets. He always knows, kind of like me, like, I know there's, like, we all know there's certain things we know we're going to get for our birthday. Because he's such a Lego fan, he always gets Legos. So he got a bunch of new Lego sets. And we kind of talked about doing this for a while. Like, hey, sometimes you don't want to have to talk. Sometimes you just want to be able to, like, hang out and enjoy your hobby. And sometimes people enjoy the same hobby and they enjoy watching you take part in that hobby. So that's how we started the Hobby Hut channel. It goes up on Fridays at noon. I think, or is it Saturdays at noon? Well, I'll have to double check that. It's Friday or Saturday at noon. It's one of those two.
Look real quick. I'm sorry, I've got a big.
I'm losing my mind.
It's all good. I was just distracted for a second. My hair line is running from my eyebrows with every year that passes, and I don't like that glare that's happened. I'm hideous. Y'all don't look at me. Anyways. No, yeah, you're right. I think watching things that I'm hobbies that I'm interested in is appealing. You're talking like something that was very appealing to me are the pours. What do you call it? Like coffee tables, and they do like the Millennium Falcon or the Trench Run, and they do
the resin pour.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff. I was like, asking my wife, hey, do you think we could get into that? Because that is cool. And she said, like, you wanted to get into brewing your own beer. Okay, point taken. So it looks really cool. There's a lot of time that has to invest in something like that, man.
And in Texas, our humidity and resin, it's sometimes not really friendly.
True.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know anything about having a hobby of collecting hobbies. No, not at all.
No. So outside of painting, what other kind of hobbies do you have or like to do?
I mean,
hold on. From a nerdy perspective.
Oh, I 3D print. So I 3D print a ton of stuff. I build Dungeons and Dragons terrain. Obviously that means I paint miniatures. on the regular. I haven't LARPed in a while, but I have all the foam. I have foam rocks, so I can just be like a hag under a bridge that throws rocks at people.
Okay, I'm not laughing at LARPing. When I think LARPing, there's this movie like Kingdom of Badassery or something to that effect.
Knights of Badassdom.
Dude,
Yes.
that's what I think of when, and which is to me a fantastically B movie, but it was so fun.
Most LARPers wish that their LARP was as well put together as what they show in that movie.
No.
It's more like the show. I think it was called Grown Up. No, not Grown Ups.
Oh, I think so. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like there was this guy, and he was like big brother, big sistering this kid who LARPed.
Yep.
That's really what.
Or maybe it wasn't Grown Ups. You're right, but I totally
It's
got
called
you.
something else though, like Role Models, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, most of us just wish that our LARPs were that well organized as they are in Knights of Badassdom.
Man, LARPing, cosplaying. These are things that I don't want to say it gets a bad rap in society, but it kind of does.
You do.
And I
Even
think
going
that
to
there's
Ren
a
Fair gets a bad
stigma.
rep.
Do what?
Even going to Ren Fair gets depending on how you look at it, kind of a bad rep. I've been going to Ren Fairs most of my life, and definitely a good chunk of my adult life. It was never until I moved to Texas, some of the things people would be like, oh, so you go to Ren Fair? And some of the questions they would ask, I would be like, my Ren Fair and your Ren Fair are obviously not the
same. What do you think? Yeah.
Yeah.
You only get AMC? I don't know what. Yes.
Yeah. Like, yeah. It's a lot of mud, a lot of smoke in your face. And a lot of cold weather is what most Ren Fair is if you're doing Ren Fairs in the fall.
You don't grab a spot in a cot, right? I mean, you don't stay over.
Oh, well, it depends. We have in the past. We haven't since 2018. Or was it 2019? Sorry, 2019 was the last time we camped. We've got all the gear. We've got a ridiculous amount of gear for it. But yeah, there have just been a lot of things that have been different since then that we've chosen that, there's a hotel not that much farther away where we have a shower.
Sure.
Indoor plumbing.
Showers are good.
A refrigerator. Yeah.
So I've never gone to Ren Fair in any capacity other than a musician. So I played several Ren Fairs from my Celtic music playing past. Just Google Sarah Dine and you'll see. But we would play, Sherwood Forest Fair. We do this at these different fairs, and I never participated. And what I found super fun was going to the North Texas Irish Festival as a participant for the first time, like ever, this last year. After playing it, I think we played that, which is a huge Irish festival in the U.S. We played that 4 or 5 times. 4 or 5 times, Sarah Dine, if you're out there, tell me. Which was super fun, but I'm always a musician, or I'm doing stuff, which means I'm probably blanking out because the hospitality has free Jameson and Guinness. But I know that going back as a participant was so huge. Because then I got to be a part of the joy side of receiving. So one of the cool things I think about cosplay, right? I just got through the College Station Comic-Con. The joy that you would see in people's faces from their engagement with these characters, because for me, like, I get it. That's not Miranda or whatever from in her N7. I get that, but she's freaking awesome and looks like her. And I know that, that's not Invincible. That's my stepson dressed up as, but it looks like Invincible. And there's something that comes from that community, and something that comes from that being able to escape into a very safe place. And you have way more experience in that, especially on the cosplay and the D&D and all this stuff.
Sides of it. So I'm part of a cosplay group called Heroes and Villains of Cosplay here in San Antonio. So I also do cosplay on essentially the working side of it. I haven't been out much this year, just due to other health fun stuff. But like there's a point when you're like dressed up in your costume, and whoever you are, you just kind of have to you embody it. So like being a performer, where you are on, so to speak. Where when you're an attendee and you're just kind of going and you're hanging out in your costume and you're talking to other people that have similar fandoms, it's a different world. It's still fun. Both sides of it can be really, really fun and really, really rewarding, especially like when we're doing cosplays and we're with the group and we're doing things with like kids charities or things of that nature. Yeah. It can be really rewarding to see some of that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely two different sides to it. But both of them can be really great. So,
yeah.
And there is a new Ren Fair coming to New Braunfels this year.
What?
It is going to be, it's their first inaugural year. And it's going to be a weekend event in New Braunfels. I don't have all the information in front of me because like it just popped up on the news the other day.
Sure.
I actually talked to one of the coordinators of it out at Greater Austin Comic Con.
Nice.
That they were talking about doing it, but at the time they didn't have their location set up. And the cool thing about it, like a lot of these bigger Ren fairs, like the tickets are a little bit pricey. Because this is just a weekend event, I think the tickets are like $10 a day for adults and like
nice.
$8 for kids.
Nice.
I mean, New Braunfels, I hate to say it, like, people may doubt me on this, but it's really turning into quite the geek hub.
Well, and it's in between. It's one of those in between places that everyone can get to very easily.
Yeah. Yeah, because I've done several Comic-Cons there, both for Geek News Now as well as for my business. But yeah, and they're going to have this Ren Fair in New Braunfels. So, I mean, their goal is to kind of turn it into something very similar to Sherwood or Texas Renaissance Festival, where it's like built out into permanent buildings. But this is that kind of inaugural year to kind of like start it out. So it's going to be probably a little bit more like your Celtic festivals.
Get a feel for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Story time. So Nick, I know you don't watch my show. So Nick was our percussionist, and I'm going to tell him to watch this just for the story. And our first year at Sherwood to perform, we performed on stage aside people like the Blaggards, if you know those cats. They're freaking awesome. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so we play our couple sets or whatever for the day, and we're leaving, and Nick's like, you guys go ahead, drummers, right? I'll see y'all tomorrow for our gig. Dude loses a stick bag between someone's tent and somewhere's tent and wherever and whenever. And I said, brother, are you serious right now? Can you not find someone's stick? I don't know where any sticks are. What? Do you even know where you are? I love you, brother, and I miss playing with you. But man, that's some funny crap right there. But that's Ren Fair. I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's Celtic Forest Fair, whatever. It's all this whole community of just, everyone. Yeah.
But in his defense, he should have had, there should have been a Rennie looking out for him to make sure he didn't lose all his gear.
Yeah.
It's Darth Zane.
Wait, the real Darth Zane? Because if it's the real Darth Zane, do you want the link?
He's probably watching Ahsoka.
I don't know, because the other Darth Zane that still had his camera on, I got to show that. I figured out how to do this. See, Darth Zane from, what's the name of that other podcast on our channel? Cantina Happy Hour and MCU Mondays. David Furr, who has taken on the Darth Zane because of the problems with cameras before.
I thought it was just because he was bad at changing his name.
Yeah, pretty much that.
Yeah,
but the last two shows I've done while I'm setting up, I see Darth Zane in two forms. Me, which I think I'm still saying. David, yeah, I should probably change that. Thank you, Dana, for reminding me. Dr. Dana. Okay. Dana Hype. Oh my goodness. I don't know who. Okay. So where was I? What were we Just saying.
We got distracted by Darth Zane.
We did. Oh, yeah. So he gave us a walkthrough, right? This is how you do Streamlabs, which is what we're using for our Hoochima what you hear. So check this out. I log in today for the second time. Everybody see that? And I'm like, dude, look, you're still like you have a camera literally on right now.
Oh no.
And I gave him the Sithy look. I said, dude. And when I started and we went into studio and we went live, guess what? Hold on a second. I almost hit in stream instead of get off live. Okay, here we go.
That would have been bad. Yeah.
So when we started the show, that camera was still there. I had to make sure we didn't show it. Yeah, I don't know which Darth Zane that was. So
that's Darth Zane from Cantina. I recognize.
Yeah, that is totally. What's up, Darth Zane from Cantina? Do you want the link? Do you want to join? No, I'm watching Ahsoka. Okay, cool. So yeah, let's move into a little Ahsoka stuff. So before we get into why we're here, which is Bastila, I want to talk a little about Ahsoka, which is running right now, the season finale. And thank you for whoever's watching, the one person, because that show was, it's good. I'll reserve my final judgment for tonight. A lot of stuff I'd like to see wrapped up, or at least put in a position that I know we can enjoy, maybe in a different mini series or another series. So what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, so far it's been well done. I mean, now we have, of course, the jokes that we now have, Star Wars Moses to go with Star Wars Jesus. But it's not bad. It's well done. I think there are some gaps that may have ended up on the cutting room floor for time reasons. But I think overall they're setting up the universe that people want to see more of. Because I think a lot of people can agree with me on this, that we're a little bit tired of the Skywalkers. So if we could move away from them a little bit, that would be nice. There's so many families and dynasties in Star Wars. Like, pick a new one. So, but I'm hoping, I mean, I know there's talks of a second season. I'm just hoping they set it up right and they don't rush through it.
I appreciate your honesty about the Skywalker stuff. Like, I'm the dude that wants everything packaged up within the Skywalker story and we're done. Because I feel like that's what it was. That's what it was intended to be, and we've held on too long. Now, don't get me wrong. I love me so I love all the other extended things, but I'm kind of the story was really about the politics and how it encapsulated this poor person and led to his demise and ultimate redemption. So when I see Star Wars and I see that, I'm good. And then anything else is kind of like sprinkles, but sometimes you're expecting chocolate and you get a Skittle. Does that make sense?
No, I get it. And I mean, I have caught a lot of flack over the years. People are like, but it's the Skywalkers. And I'm like, and? Because I think we're ready to move on beyond that, I think.
Yeah.
I think the fans, they talk about this toxic Star Wars fan base, which, yes, I think we all can acknowledge does exist. But I think part of why that fan base exists is because they're tired of the Skywalkers too. They just don't know how to articulate that they're tired of the Skywalkers.
Sure. I think, though, too, the Skywalkers that I knew before the movies of late was a story that could continue, was a story that was rich and full. We're talking with Emperor's Hand, Mara Jade, being the mother of the twins, and one of the twins the twins were on Leia's side, and one of those twins tried to kill Leia, and then one of that was Jason, and then so there's so much that was there that I understand, I get it, you cut it out. But I think by doing a blanket, we're cutting it out for about 5 to 8 years, and then we'll recycle some things like Thrawn that were really awesome. There's some other awesome stuff out there, Disney, like Mara Jade, but now you've
I
kind
don't
of,
think they're brave enough to touch Mara Jade.
and that's a shame because
Yeah.
what a wonderful character. What a character that brought back a human piece to Luke that started to go missing in the stories. Like I love that arc. I'm a sucker for. I mean, Ariel's my favorite Disney princess. So the redhead. But at the end of the day, she tried to kill him. So what do you do with that? Which brings us to Bastila. No, this was fun. One last thing on the HoloNet highlights here, just news stuff. I keep seeing this picture of Balin or Balin. Oh my god. What's the actor's name?
I don't know the actor's name. I know it's Balin.
Someone. If I crap. Hold on. Stevens. Ray Stevens.
Okay.
So yeah, Stevens. So when you have Rosario Dawson and Shin's character, I can't remember the actress, but all three of them kind of sitting there smiling. It's really sad that he's not going to be there for anything else. And the character that he was written to play, I think he really owned. And
yeah,
I think I wanted to touch on that, knowing that right now was his last screen appearance for Ahsoka. Just a great actor and a great addition to our Star Wars lore. And while we may not be able to get him on screen, I mean, I already wrote another article last week about Balin. He's a great character, and Ray Stevens did a great job of portraying a very stoic Vader-esque type character. I don't know if you've caught up to tonight and saw last week's episode, but dang.
I did see last week. I kind of was half paying attention, but I saw last week, where because last week was when they first discovered. When Ahsoka first discovered like the people in the pods, and it was like, oh hi, we're all together, but still no one's told Ezra what's happened because we're just gonna omit all that. It's fine. You don't need to know. It's fine.
Sabine, whatever. We're fine. It's all
it's
fine.
fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Now, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with that. I would love to see some graphic novels, books written about Balin and his journey. Hell, why not? I could write it. I'm a writer. I'm an author. Go to Amazon. I've never even talked about this. I have a book on Amazon.
You can self-publish.
I did. Yeah. So, Rebel with a Cause by Dr. Dana Martin. Go check it out. It's just really short, little tiny chapters, paragraph or two, just to kind of inspire and get you through a business day. All right. Comparing Star Wars, of course. Let's move on to why we're here. We're going to jump into... before we jump into deep dive, I want to talk about our partner, Ripped Apparel. Last week, I shared a link, and there were some really cool shirts. This time... shoot, where did it go? I did put it in there, didn't I? Here it is.
Don't lose it.
I got it.
I have no clue what's going on with my light behind me. Like, I look back and like all the lights are fine, but like it's like light and dark, light and dark, light and dark. See?
Boom. All right, you see that right there?
Yeah.
So yeah, right there. 15% of this is all the Star Wars centric type things. Live long. Oh, that's fantastic. In Star Wars logo. It's not fantastic. That's blasphemy. DigiWars. Just this site, Ripped. They have some really cool shirts, man. Last week we had a select group of shirts that we were able to. No, what the heck? Oh my god. Okay, yeah, COVID wars, folks. Come on.
That's pretty funny.
Rip, one of our partners. Thank you so much. And we hope that Skate Wars. But no, it can't be. All right, I'm done. I'm done with this. How do I get out of here? Oh my god.
Just don't close the live. Like,
No, yeah, don't close the light. That was only page 2. We only got to page 2. There's a. Oh my god. Okay, go check it out. There's a link. Actually, I think I put that already in the description, Cat. But yeah. All right. So we're gonna jump over to our main topic, which is Bastila Shan, and we're gonna be focusing more on after she fell. And why are we focusing on that? Because we're a Sithy type show. But at a high level, if you don't know who Bastila is, Jedi Knight, Jedi Master. She saved Revan at one point in a comatose state. Brought him to the Jedi Council. That's whenever they decided to kind of reprogram him, and she had to kind of sidle up to him as a spy. And this is kind of what I was talking about on the TikTok live before the show. The Jedi are a little sneaky sometimes, a little hypocritical. But they had her working with him. She falls in love with them. He, of course, jumps over to the other side for a while. She and him end up married and have a kid. And there's all kinds of cool history. What? Yeah. So Bastila, Jedi Master, married a Sith Lord, if you look at it a certain point of view. And I have to ask, from your perspective or your point of view, what is it about the bad boy that the girls are always attracted to? I can't hear you. You're muted. Still muted. Did I do? Oh, there you are. I got you.
There we go. I don't think it's so much the bad boy persona. I think it's the matter that the people that have that personality allow you to be what you are. I mean, and it sounds funny, and this isn't like some sort of feminist trope, but women have a lot of really kind of bizarre double standards that were put on by both other women, society, etc. And so when you finally meet someone that understands that you don't necessarily, you don't fit into that specific mold, and they allow you to be you, and usually that's going to be the bad boy, unfortunately, because really he probably only half cares.
Do what you want to do. I don't give a shit.
Do what you want to do. It's fine. Yeah. So I think that's where that kind of comes in. But I think with Bastila and Revan, it was a little bit different, because Revan has notoriously been associated with the Sith and the dark side. Bastila was then turned to the dark side, but she was turned to the dark side through ineffective torture methods.
Oh, she was a Maul. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like tortured into submission. 100%.
Yeah. It was basically, what do I have to do to make it stop? I have to be a Sith. That's fine.
Yeah, Malik was relentless. Absolutely.
Yeah. But it also showed where, even she had those moments where it's like, okay, I've been told that I need to be a Sith, and then I have to spy on this person. And I have to do these bad things. But ultimately, she came back around to her Jedi ways.
Well, and I think her breaking too was where, in her lowest of lows, like in her absolute most painful of pain, where were the Jedi?
Yeah.
Sorry, it's what, too much to go bail her out, to go get her? No. Yeah, sorry if I interrupted.
No, it's true though. It's just, yeah, and it's like you and I have talked about it before, the hypocrisy of the Jedi. Of, oh, look at us, we're this light, we're this beacon of hope. But not really.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, we know we put you on this really special mission, and oh, you got caught? Oh, sorry, we don't know nothing about that mission.
Yep. And it's full. The canonized even things that we have is chock full of those types of things. And I don't think it was Lucas's intent to show how corrupt the Jedi are in some weird point of, whatever. I think it was just more, hey, no one is infallible, right? Everyone's gonna have their own agenda. And in the case of Bastila, I think when she saved Revan and that kind of connection happened, and if you don't know and you're listening or watching, if you saw what happened between um, Rey and Kylo Ren or Ben Solo, that connection, I've heard that link, I can't remember what it was called, Force Link, I don't know. Something very similar, or the thing happened between Bastila and Revan. And I think if we equate that to our personal lives, whether we're with that person now or not, or whatever, like we all kind of feel there's that one connection, that one kindred spirit, like through whatever, whether you're with that person or not, like there was something, someone, somewhere that's kind of that one link. At times, a lot of people experience that, and I think that kind of is what she experienced with Revan, which led to her like undying, unyielding, uh what's the word, not servitude, like just
Commitment.
to follow him,
Mhm.
wherever he went, not as a wife or a subservient person, but as a partner, like just someone to go together. We are going to rule the galaxy together.
Yeah, but I think it's also because Revan didn't look at her as less.
Mm.
He didn't look at her like, you're going to slow me down. I'm trying to take over the world. I don't have time for this. He saw her as an equal. Where the Jedi, the Sith, they looked at her as something less than. And it gets, you don't ever underestimate your opponent. You don't ever underestimate the people around you, because you don't know what experiences they bring to the table.
Mm-hmm.
Well, unfortunately, both the Jedi and the Sith did dramatically underestimate her. But Revan saw her for who she was. And
I would think
knew that she was capable of anything.
And off that, I mean, I would think that the two of them, the way that how powerful they were together, I have to think that maybe there's something within the Jedi ideal of not having compassion, but not loving and having attachment, that there was something about the power of love and being together that would create such a force that they maybe felt like they could not control.
That's possible, but eventually those two did marry. Eventually, against the wills of the
Against
Jedi
the will,
Council.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But he
the other side of
left.
that too is true. Yeah, he did leave. He did leave at that point to go kind of seek his own path. But another thing too with that is, like, they're the ultimate Star Wars power couple. I don't care what you guys say. They are the ultimate Star Wars power couple. And what traits do they both have that most power couples have is when one of them comes to them with an idea, it's never, that's a bad idea. It's, okay, tell me more. And so they allow them to plant the seed, water the seed, and let that seed grow into whatever it's going to be. If you are doing that and you are nourishing your ideas, your inspirations, your goals, nothing's going to stop you. And when you have one person there as your cheerleader in your corner, they're going to help manifest that. And then you're going to help manifest that back in them.
Absolutely.
And that's what you had with Bastila and Revan.
Absolutely. I love that you said the power couple. I was talking pre-show about my wife's car, and she just let it go. It was the light side car. I was the dark side car. And we had wraps that were as such. It was really cool. One of the things I believe that I think a powerful man, needs to have a counterpart equally as powerful, whether in his partner. And same for a woman. It needs to have an equally powerful partner. And one of the things I really try to do, I'm not very good at a lot, is 100 100, right? A relationship's 50-50, and I just never really bought into that. I think a relationship is 100 100. All I can give is 100. There's no such thing as 110. I can only give what I can give. I need to make sure that what I give is 100. I don't expect 100 back. I expect myself to put out 100. Now, the opposite side of that is, well, my partner better put out 100. And if they don't, there's only so much of that you're going to take. But if you're both in agreement that it's 100 100, sometimes you take the lead, sometimes the other takes the lead. And I think Bastila, you're right. And Revan are an example of that. It's let's do this. Let's do that. And I think we're assuming a lot based on no material in between some of their marriage stuff. But I think just with what we know in the evidence, to your point, like they are the ultimate power couple. And if he had not gone to the Outer Rim, may have ruled the galaxy for 50 years, man.
Yeah. And I mean, let's face it, we know that it probably wasn't always sunshine and rainbows. Like sometimes the plan would probably go off the rails. And
what?
And they'd have to regroup. But because of the fact that they had that support for each other, it's like, well, okay, this didn't work out. Let's go hang at the Outer Rim for a bit, regroup, and on to plan B. It's just like anything. I mean, you run a business. Several people that have been on the show run businesses. One recurring theme, and this is something I think a lot of people, when they look at business or relationships or whatever it is, 90% of that success is a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
You are never going to be successful in a business if you get up every day and think, this is the hardest thing ever. This is so much work. This is so much effort. I'm never going to make it big. I'm never going to be successful. If you tell yourself that, that's how it's going to roll. Same thing with relationships, whether it's romantic relationships, professional relationships, friendships. If you get up every single day and in your mind, the people around you, you're not in their corner and they're not in yours, then yeah, those relationships are not going to be beneficial. But at least 90% of it is how you walk into it and knowing when the other party is not, like you said, it's 100-100 either way. Sometimes it might be 80-20. Sometimes it might be like 25-75. But there's got to be that balance there.
Totally. And, you're talking kind of environment in addition to relations. And when I was talking in the TikTok earlier about John Maxwell book I was going through the 15 Irrefutable Laws of Growth. And one of those really was sticking out today during the prep for the show and going through some things, and it's environment. So Bastila had her environment be the Jedi, and she was influenced by the Jedi and their decision making and her environment. Her decision making was impacted by her environment. When she was sidled up next to Revan, or within Malak, turning to the dark side out of forced or what have you, it was her environment. Her environment forced her into that. And I think it's rule 14 of 15, the rule of environment. I'm probably wrong. I'm just now reading it. But the point is 100%. That's true. Whatever your environment is. So if you're in a spot where you feel like you need to grow or you need to be bigger or better, you should always feel like you want to be bigger, better than what you are. And that growth can only happen in a specific type of environment. And if you're in an environment that's not conducive for your growth, find a different environment. And I think she did. And that was her redemption path, right? It was getting back to, okay, yeah, I think I want to settle down and have kids with Revan or whatever. But yeah, I mean, you see my point.
Yeah. Well, it also gets back to the thought process. And if you look at the difference between Revan and Malak, where Revan inspired her to grow, Malak forced her to grow. So if you look at that, it's the concept of what we tolerate, we encourage. So during that time with Malak, now some of that was forced, there was torture involved, et cetera, et cetera. but she didn't exactly book it out of there as soon as she had a chance.
Mm-mm.
And by staying and turning to the dark side, that supported Malik in his goal. That basically, and like we've discussed, like Malik, he's a master manipulator. We all know this. Like, that's just what he did. And when she finally realized that enough was enough, she's like, deuces, bye.
I'm out.
Yep.
I think one of her powers.
She tolerated it for quite a while.
Oh, absolutely. And her battle meditation power, I think, is one of the things I always found intriguing. I think when I look at, I don't know if this is canon or not. You folks in the podcast world can tell me if I'm wrong. But battle meditation was also used during the Battle of Endor by Palpatine. And that once Palpatine was defeated, that's when the battle turned. The same exact thing happened in Rise of Skywalker. He was using battle meditation along with his whatever lightning to turn the tide of the war or the battle. And once he was taken out, the battle turned. So that is indicative of, yeah, there is a mastermind behind some shit. Now, stuff. Now, we look
We're
at
more than 5
Bastila.
minutes and we're good.
I know, right? Yeah, everyone's gone. That's, everyone's asleep by now. So if you look at Bastila, it's the same thing, right? Tide of the war, whether she was on the light side or dark side, her battle meditation made a difference. And I believe that if we, from a personal growth, business perspective, we find those folks in our sphere, or we make sure we have those folks within our sphere that we can invest in that can then prop us up, right? You don't invest for the intent or point of having someone do that for you. It's a byproduct. And I think that when we look at Bastila, we see that regardless of regardless of what she was subscribing to, ideology wise at the time, be it Jedi or Sith, she was all in. And I think that's an important lesson too, is if you're gonna believe something and you're gonna have a vision for something, then freaking do it, right? Don't
be all in.
Be all in. What did I say? I used your name, Kat, but I have I have a couple of TikToks where I talk about KAT, kick ass today.
Yeah.
I'm not the one that thought of that. I think it's been around for a while, but I used to actually put that Post-it note up. I used to have my team members, I'd tell them, don't quit your whining and just kick ass today. And it makes them laugh. But at the end of the day, yours to control. And Bastila took control of her destiny, not in a way that a Jedi would. I think if she had not been Sith, she would not have understood how to take control back of her life.
So here's the thing with that. I don't think Bastila was ever fully 100% light side. She was a force user that used her force for good purposes. But
as a means to an end with what she felt was the right thing to do. Very
right.
Ahsoka-ish.
Very much. So also think of the Crusaders, right? I'm doing what I need to do for the good of what I need to do, but sometimes my methods in that may not be entirely the best methods.
Yeah.
I think the Sith did teach her how to harness that a little bit more, but I think ultimately I don't want to use brainwashing, but I mean, let's face it, most Jedi are taken from their families as children, very small, young, impressionable children. And they're sent off to this school where they're taught, don't have attachments, forget everything you know. All you do is fight for the good. They don't get to think for themselves. Where Bastila, if I remember correctly, by the time she was Jedi training, she was considerably older.
Mm-hmm. She was.
So she lived some life. So I think that also makes a difference in the reason she was able to make that climb back from the dark side.
I think that's a great point you bring up. We know in the sequels that the First Order was doing the exact same thing, getting young kids, programming them to be little soldiers, just like the Jedi did of old.
Well, and you even see it though, like in the difference between Anakin and Luke. Anakin, small child, taken into the Jedi Order. Luke was like 19. Like,
no,
you know,
way too old.
yeah, like, but, you know, Yoda trained him and he did his thing, but that was why he struggled, is because he had his own preconceived notions of what life was.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of gets back to that kind of our environment. You know, if all you've ever known your life is Jedi training, and we even see that as a repeating theme in science fiction, you know, Halo is the same thing. I mean, I don't want to say they kidnapped children, but, you know, it was government sanctioned child trafficking. You know,
for the good of society,
for the good of the universe. Yeah. But, you know, Halo soldiers, just like Jedi soldiers, they don't know any better. Like, they're taught this is what you do. They don't question.
Yep.
And even if you look through Star Wars lore, most of your Jedi who do start to question are people that joined the Jedi Order after the age of 15.
And they end up leaving so yeah, you've got whoever was with Ventress, who's a Jedi Master. He turned. I mean, like, yeah, I think they hold on a little too tight. I think the lack of what's the word here? You have to be able to allow a mind to learn and create and make mistakes. Otherwise, they're just going to do what they're told because they're told, as opposed to understanding why they're doing it. Wow, that was pretty profound. And you got to be able to understand as you get older why you're doing something. Does it make sense to me to get up and make my bed every morning? I do it every day. Why? I need to understand why. And I think with the Jedi, a lot of it is this is the way we do it. But I want to know why. I want to understand. Well, that doesn't make sense. We've been doing it that way for 1,000 years. For what? It's now 1,000 years later. Can we do it different? And that's where the Sith are not held back by, I think, an arcane view of the Force, where the Force is we just kind of wait for the Force to maneuver us and where we need to go. Or, oh, come on, man, the Force is there for us, for not for the taking. I'm not nihilist. I'm going to suck the Force life out of folks, but at the same time, like, yeah, it's a power that's there for us, and I think that's within us too, as personal growth, professional growth. It's, are you gonna just, okay, well, this is just what the hand is that's dealt to me? No, I'm not gonna wait around. I'm gonna go do something, because no one ever like wrote a book about success and was like, I waited for 18 years and magically some crap fell in my lap. Like, no one has that book. Everyone goes after it and goes and gets it, right? Sorry, I'm getting a little preachy, but that's the difference fundamentally in the Jedi and the Sith. I need this in my life to be a better, bigger, faster, stronger person. I'm going to go do it. Whew, I'm getting off the soapbox. Sorry, Kat.
No, but it's true though. You know, it's, no one's ever run a business by saying, okay, so I'm just going to get like my business license and I'm going to get a storefront and I'm going to open my doors and people are going to give me money.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how that works.
Nope.
There's a lot that goes into that. There's a lot that goes into just running business. And if you really look at it, like, the Jedi are like the folks that buy a franchise and just do it exactly how the franchise owners have always done it for like 40, 50 years. Mm-hmm. The Sith are your entrepreneurs that say, why does my success have to look this way? I know that's how people have been successful for, I know that worked for my parents, it worked for my grandparents, maybe it's worked for 40, 50 years, but we're in a new age. I want to do something different. You know, every Twitch streamer out there that's successful is a Sith Lord.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift is a Sith Lord.
I cannot believe I just had that on my show.
I mean, think about it. You know, she could have stayed the pop route. She's done pop. She's done country. She has branched out. She's not that old. Okay, there are superstars out there that would not tell the Super Bowl, sorry, I have other things to do.
True.
She is writing her own ticket because she's doing it her way, not just following the status quo.
I forget what
Beyonce is following in her footsteps.
I forget what they call Swifties. Swifters.
Swifties, yeah.
Swiffers.
The Swifties. Yeah.
Swifties.
It's fine. She's in her Sith era. It's fine.
Look, I mean, I'll just say it. I mean, her first couple albums, she's writing her own music. I'm a musician. I'm like, okay, I can respect that. Little campy, but it's, our song is okay, whatever. But when she did the Def Leppard Crossroads, if you haven't seen that,
it's amazing.
That Def Leppard's like number one from my past. I love Def Leppard. And so if you're listening, Joe Elliott and Phil Collin and the rest of the gang, I adore you guys. So give me tickets. Def Leppard.
Come back to San Antonio.
Right? I saw him in Houston and with Cheap Trick and Poison, and it was fantastic. My son, we all know Darth Zane, the real Darth Zane, not the imitation Darth Zane that's on MCU Mondays and Cantina Happy Hour, has seen him as well, and he got to see him with Motley Crue this last year. Like, great show. Anyways, Taylor Swift, you're right though. Punch your own ticket, right? You take control of your destiny. Your music sucks. It is campy, according to some folks. Well, that's fine, but other people like it. I'll keep doing it. Those are the things that do separate. I believe success from, well, everyone believes it. Success, people who are successful from people who don't even try. But yeah, I think Bastila is a good example of what we can do and what we can change, because I think ultimately she changed the shape of the galaxy based on her relationship with Revan. I said it.
Well, yeah, I mean, Revan led the charge for Jedi leaving the Order in order to pursue happiness.
Yep. So how does that relate to, I mean, I know within like my org, changes come down and people take sides, especially in times of mergers or in times of just changes or structural changes, and people hold on to their jobs and people grab onto the stuff that they know so that they're needed. Sidebar, I'll do a whole TikTok on this or two. Dana's motto is no one is needed, everyone is wanted. And that is, be the employee that's wanted, not an employee that's needed. Because if you're just an employee that's needed, we'll train someone else so we don't need you anymore. But be an employee that's wanted by the organization, not just your management. There's a lot to unpack with that. And it's kind of the antithesis of what a lot of today's workers are being told. But honestly, if you want to be successful, that's the route. So I think Bastila was certainly one of those that, yes, she had a special skill, right, with the battle meditation, and the Jedi wanted that badly. She was forced to use it, I say, during the Jedi, or for the Jedi, but she was also forced to use it for the Sith. And what I believe happened in her was, I'm not going to be forced to use my talent, my skill, whatever, in a way that I don't feel I am aligned with right now in my life. And she changed right then and there. It's huge. There's some great YouTube video clips to kind of walk you through all of this. And it's really inspiring, I think. I know you love you some Bastila, so I'll yield. But yeah, like that. The whole, this is my skill, I'm going to do what I want with it, was super powerful in the whole story of Revan and the what was the stupid thing called? The Forge.
Oh, Forge, yeah.
Star Forge. Sorry. Anyway.
Well, but I think Bastila also understood, yes, she had battle meditation. It was a more, and I honestly don't think battle meditation was as rare as they've made it out to be. But I think it was because it was so dangerous, they didn't let people know it was an ability they had.
That's a great point. I mean, you could literally change a battle like just by
Mhm.
thinking. Like it's
Well,
huge.
it's like the ongoing like the D&D cantrip of inspiration. Like, Bard plays a song and everyone's inspired.
Yeah,
You know, it's the same thing. Um,
it's
and
rally.
yeah, and people really don't realize how big of a difference having someone come at you in a positive way in a not great circumstance can inspire people to do great things.
And would you agree? I mean, you may not. To your point there, I mean, Revan was more. Yeah, we know about the Force link or whatever, but he was her. He was her partner. He was her counter,
Mm-hmm.
in every aspect. From being Jedi's together, to being married, they countered each other very well, and I think that's rare in Star Wars lore. But I think it is rare to that extent. It's our fairy tale in real life to look at from a Sith and a Jedi can get married and get along.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but it's also that balance. Like we said, Bastila wasn't a Jedi for at such a young age that she was blinded to the reality of the world.
Yep.
And Revan was in a lot of ways a realist. Most Sith are more realist than, I mean, did he want to take over the galaxy? Absolutely. Did he know it was going to probably not happen in his lifetime? Probably, but it wasn't going to mean he wasn't going to give it the good old college try.
Mm-hmm.
But he also knew when it was like, okay, this is getting to be a little much. Let's just go hang in the Outer Rim.
True. And I like the parallel that we see um, in that relationship and how her involvement with the Order, so her job, impacted that. And I think there's something to be said about that too. You've got her. I just watched a show on what's it called? Lioness. Lioness. It was Taylor Sheridan, another Taylor Sheridan movie on or a series on Amazon Prime, and this woman, Zoe's I can't ever say her last name, Gamora, plays. Thank
Gotcha.
you. She plays this kind of whatever black ops type person. Just seeing how she has to compartmentalize what's happening with her job, with what's happening with her family. I don't wish that on anyone. That's so terrible. But when I look at what Bastila in her towards her end times, I mean, she had to compartmentalize. I don't know where my husband is. I don't know where he's off to doing whatever in the Outer Rim. We know what happens mostly to Revan, but did she ever really know? So I I I think that her strength also needs to be called out in knowing her husband was off doing whatever, and she's running the shit, right? She's running her show with her family, her son. I think it was a son. Um, yeah, I think there maybe is a little more to that story on her side that could be told.
Oh yeah, they never will. But I mean, there's definitely more
They
there. I
never
mean,
will. What do you call the dark ear
oh, Darth Mouse.
Darth Mouse? That's so funny to me. I love I used to love the mouse, and it's all right.
The mouse was K with me growing up. I was never ever totally, I was not Mickey Mouse clubbed.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was K. Like I was like, okay, there are a few things I liked, but I was never that kid.
I just a
But
sucker for some of those movies, like Aladdin. I loved Aladdin. I loved the whole relationship between him and Genie. And come on, man, you know what I do for a living. So, like, I love
like,
that stuff.
it's not as great as like Robin Hood and Little John.
This is
Or
true.
Prince John and Sir Hiss.
And, you know, I'm in college and I'm hearing hamster dance for the first time because I'm that old. Just leave it. And I'm like, is that holy crap? They sped it up. That's fantastic. And then like 20 years later, I'm seeing, did y'all know that this was actually from a Disney movie, Robin Hood anime? I'm like, are you kidding me? You don't know? Oh my God. What are you? You're like, I'm older than the show. You're old. Oh my God. I'm old. So how do we deal? How do we, so there's always, one of the things in that Luke I could always relate to with Luke in the Kylo Ren scene where he's like, I can see the evil in that kid. I should just end him. I mean, I don't have direct reports anymore, so I can say this. Like, I get it. Like, I know you are going to be the downfall of this department if I let you survive. I gotta figure out a way to get rid of you. But that's BS because then I'm predetermining their future, and that's a crappy leader. To have that, I don't want to say to have that thought, but it's a crappy leader to dwell on that thought. Would you agree?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've worked with people that I'm not going to say I felt bad when they were no longer with the company, but there's also a certain point when sometimes you get those folks that wherever they're at in the chain of things, the reason they've gotten there is because people just were like, how do I make this not my problem? Here you go. Here, this person's really, really good at this. We're going to go ahead. Yeah, when they come to them, I'm going to give them that recommendation when they are applying for that promotion. So there's somebody else's problem.
Yes.
And all that doesn't help them. It really doesn't help wherever they're going.
Oh, and that destroys your credibility, by the way.
Yeah, but then the other side of that too, though, is there's probably the people that are doing that, there's probably someone who's thinking the exact same thing with them. And they're like, not my monkeys, not my chicken, not my poop anymore.
Nope. No, you're absolutely right. Didn't she bring him back? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, she did. She did bring him back. Dude, yeah, and if I gave the impression that, I mean, she didn't. I mean, she loved Revan. I mean,
yeah,
100%. She would have given her life for him. He saved her. I mean, and it's not a, man. We're in a weird time, and I just feel awkward when I say that. But he saved her. He saved her from redemption. He helped her be redeemed, and I
saved
think
her in like the fairy princess that's gonna
yeah,
be
no, like yeah, it was so much more than that, and I don't know. I always kind of go back to that kindred spirit thing I mentioned earlier in the show. I think that the love story between Han and Leia, the several versions we've had now, are all kind of cool, but this one is been the same story for 20 plus years now, and it's a good one. There's so much more to talk about when it comes to Bastila. She's a great character. There's a little bit, I think, in some of the novelization of some of the stuff, pardon me, that will probably be brought up on another show. Specifically, next week, we're going to be doing Darth Revan Part 1. Part 1, you say? Yes. I thought we could barely do one Sith Lord in one show as it is. Something as rich and big as Revan, we're going to do 2 shows for sure. And Part 1 will be probably more kind of KOTOR, KOTOR. And Part 2 will be that kind of second piece to that. But we will be talking about his relationships with his team. I mean, that was one of the big things that BioWare really wrote in was the dependence upon others for your success. Not that they determine your success, but surround yourself with successful people and you too will be successful. And building influence. And oh God, Revan's just so he's a leader's dream, man. But one last thing on Revan before we kind of kick off towards the end. Tell me your thoughts on all those rumors that have apparently now been squashed that potentially Keanu Reeves may had been called or talked to about playing Revan.
So, I don't think Disney did when it comes to Revan. I'm gonna straight up say it: Disney, no balls. Like they're not gonna do it,
dude. That's at the fan favorite. Like that's tough, man.
They're too afraid.
Oof.
Oh, it is. And so here's the thing. I think the only reason that Revan and Bane got, or at least I know Revan, I believe through Clone Wars or Rebels, got brought into canon, is because the fans screamed. Because when they first brought in, they're like, "Oh yeah, nothing in Legends is canon. You can't have Darth Vader if you don't have Darth Revan."
Yeah.
Like, so I think someone finally sat down and was like, "So guys, the fans aren't just ranting to be ranting. Here's a plot hole.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have to fix it." But I don't think. If they get a new leader, if they get someone that really understands the state of entertainment today and understands if you're going to hold on to those adults that grew up with you as children, you need to lean into villains and you need to lean into the dark side.
That have jobs and money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jobs and money is
toys and Legos.
Disposable income. Yeah. See,
yes.
Yeah. So I knew one of them got brought back in. I mean, would I love to see Keanu Reeves play Revan? Absolutely. I love Keanu Reeves as Johnny Silverhand in Cyberpunk.
I still haven't
He does a good bad guy. I mean, Johnny Silverhand isn't really a bad guy. He's just like, I mean, I would love to play the game as Johnny Silverhand, but that's because I have that says a whole lot of things about my personality that I'm sure people are going to sit at home and unpack for a bit. But
I was looking for a like a cutscene, whatever for that, because I haven't played the game, and I'm trying to find a good one that I can walk through and kind of get a feel for all of that. I'm assuming it's pretty freaking amazing from what everyone's saying.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how that goes. I don't believe
we'll see.
I think they're lying because they want our big kid money.
And
then we're going to spend our big kid money. And by the time you spent your big kid money, they've already got your money. It's very Sithy.
Yeah, like buying the build your own lightsaber, like Build-A-Bear, but it's way more expensive.
Yeah. Well, you can get a combat ready one for like half the price.
Look, I'm a sucker. I'm not even going to. It was and I don't know how they do it now, folks, but when I did it, it was a whole experience. You're getting talked through everything. It was amazing. Mm-hmm. Apparently, it may not be like that anymore, but anyways. Well, Kat, this has been fun. I love Bastila. She's one of my favorite characters. Played her early on in my gaming career, so to speak, on my Xbox. Yeah. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Alfie's office. I appreciate you jumping into this evening. I know that was kind of short notice, so thank you. Otherwise, it would have just been me sitting here talking, and nobody wants to see that, as evident by my TikTok. No, thank you all for joining my TikTok. As I prepped for the show, I was behind prepping for the show because I got on a tangent or two. So a couple things to talk about. So yeah, what do we got? We got Thursday. That's 2 days because we don't have anything on Wednesday. Wait, we do have
No,
on Wednesdays.
This week we're going to have a new Cam in focus. I believe he's still going down with the Hitman series.
Nice.
Cam,
Wait,
correct me if I'm wrong.
the movie series?
Yeah, the movies. Yeah.
Oh, Timothy Oliphant was the first one, I think. I like.
Yeah, so he's going through each of the Hitman movies, and yeah, it's pretty awesome. Like, I mean, he's got a great sense of humor, so like, you guys really should tune in and check him out.
Totally. Thursday, Cantina Happy Hour. They'll be talking about Ahsoka finale. Friday,
Hobby Head.
Yes. What are we putting together? Do we know?
It's going to be a Lego set. I know that much. But I don't know which one yet.
Which one? That's okay.
I don't know which one. Like, I
Tune
haven't
in
the video yet.
The Darth Zane parentheses David putting together some Legos. It's actually pretty cool. He does the time lapse, and I'm a sucker for time lapse because ain't nobody got time to watch someone put together Legos. But that's cool whenever you see them being built. What else we got here? TikTok is funny. Thank you. Sorry. Saturday is
Geek Gauntlet.
Geek Gauntlet. Okay. Can I just say, like, there are shows that you guys talk about in the Geek Gauntlet that I'm trying to watch. And so I can't jump on because I'll get spoiled. Like the anime piece, great. I'm not a huge follower of anime, but I'll jump on and watch, check out. But I just know I'm going to hear something like, I'm not going to be watching Loki straight away. So whenever MCU Monday starts talking about Loki, guess who's not going to be on MCU Monday? Joining in, chatting. Sorry, I went on a tangent again.
So this week, though, I think we're talking. Oh, what are we? I don't know if we have our list yet. I'm not sure if we're talking about Loki this week. Probably not. Maybe though. I think we're going to talk about Gen V, which is the new spinoff from The Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's straight up my alley. Like,
You like The Boys?
Oh yeah, that was great.
Yeah, it's fun.
Well, I mean, if that's why you don't give me superpowers. Like, I mean, I'm just saying,
Oh, come
on.
So mean.
So yeah, but usually, like, if you get to like the half-hour mark of Gauntlet, usually by then we're done talking about shows. We're on to comics and anime, and
Gotcha.
Whatever other ridiculous might come out of my mouth.
And for those of you that don't know, you just jump in for my show. I mean, when we say the Geek Gauntlet, it's DC, it's MCU, it's anime, it's games, it's board game, tabletop game, it's all kinds of stuff. And that's why I'm like, I'm trying to watch these shows. But yeah, man, it's when I say there's something for everyone, when I repost that, I mean that. Like there's something for everyone. On our Geek News Now official on YouTube, we have shows galore. We have the shows on MCU Monday, which I alluded to as well, where it's all MCU all the time. Lightsabers and
Captain's Logs and Lightsabers will have a new episode coming out this week.
There you go, Captain's Log and Lightsabers.
And they're celebrating Captain Cisco.
Captain Cisco.
So for the term that I was called was the Cisco fans.
Oh.
I'm not sure if that's a real term, but that was the term that they were coined.
Cisco fans?
Yes, all those people that were so angry when we left Cisco off of the Who's Your Favorite Captain for.
Oh.
Yeah, they let us know who they wanted to hear about, and so Captain's Logs and Lightsabers is obliging.
Yeah, that's right. I saw that. What was that about? Yeah, I think that's cool though, because not a super from my casual fandom in that universe, not a super popular that I know of. To pull that out, that's going to be fun. What day is that?
Yeah. That I believe that's going to be Thursday because that goes up as a podcast.
Yeah.
So I believe that's going to be going up sometime Thursday. So keep an eye on our page over at Geek News Now on Facebook. Or it'll also show up through our podcast over on Podbean or wherever you get all of your podcasts.
Yep. Oh, to my surprise. So I have a podcast from previous life that is out there on Spotify and everything else too. But I was on Spotify and I said, play Sith Dominion, and was like, oh my gosh, that's our show. So yeah, on Spotify, you get the audio, and I'm terrible at trying to put chapters, so you won't hear any dings or anything because I'm terrible at putting chapters. But just to enjoy the show on whatever you do listen to, and all of our shows. When I got to come on as a writer, I was real nervous about even doing that. Testing the waters with that. David, our Grand Poobah, has been fantastic. He brings in a great, diverse group of people with a lot of different thoughts to come together to create Geek News Now, and I love being a part of the org. And I know you do too. And I love working with you and everyone else. And when I think of, and of course have to relate it to Sith and Jedi, the Jedi have a very hierarchical. This is, your masters are on the council, and they're the ones that are ruling. It doesn't feel that way. It feels very like, yeah, we got a leader or two or three kind of running the show, but we're all voices equal, and all have a say, as evident by our meetings and stuff. So when we are talking about trying to get content out to everyone to fulfill a need for all of geekdom, we are constantly trying to do that. So if you check out on our social media, if you have an interest in joining our team of writers or podcasters, reach out to us. We are constantly looking for new material. If you want to help just be on the AV team and do more social stuff, create videos or whatever out of our content, just whatever you want to do, we have an opportunity to kind of feed your need for your hobby, whatever that might be. And it's super fun. Go ahead.
I was going to say, on Facebook, send us a message through Messenger, through our Facebook page. And yeah, I mean, it's not something you need a ton of experience doing. I mean, you need to just know how to basically use a computer. We can teach you the rest.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what we're here for. We are here. We're fueled by the fans because we're all fans.
That's right. So speaking of fueled by the fans, I posted a poll on TikTok and I asked for comments. I got no comments, but the poll was exceptional. I said, is there a better Bastila than Fallen Bastila? And I mean, Fallen Bastila won hands down. I mean, Fallen, she was a badass. Sorry, censors. She was a badass. And if you read any of my articles about the badass women of Star Wars, you will see I have a great fandom myself for the Reys of the world, for the Ahsokas of the world. But I also love the Balin Skulls of the world, so which I can't wait to see here in a minute. So, anything else we need to promo, Kat? What do you got going on?
So of course I have Gauntlet coming up on Saturday. Like I said, I'm working on editing together the video for Hobby Hut for this week. But most importantly, like we said, we're all fueled by the fans because we are fans. So if you've had a good time hanging out with us here on the Sith Dominion tonight, or if you're just watching the replay and you're like, hey, finally, people that get me, they talk about the dark side. I like this. We found that, unfortunately, most of our viewers aren't following or subscribing. So you're missing out when we're going live or when we have new content. So make sure that you are not part of that 2% that watches but doesn't follow and subscribe. So click the little button. Click the button. Subscribe. And then the one that goes ding ding, and then you'll get notifications every time we've got new content, so you never have to miss out on it.
It's that easy. It really is.
Yeah. And then you get to see all of our fun shorts and everything else that comes up.
Oh, the shorts. I forget about the shorts.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm wearing shorts, but I forget about the shorts. I mean, I'm Sith. What do you want? Look, at the end of the day, folks, Star Wars is Star Wars. Real life is real life. We can learn from our lives, and we can learn from Star Wars. So that's what we do here on the Sith Dominion podcast, but we look at it from a Sithy point of view. Kat, thank you again for joining this evening and bailing me out of having to do a show alone. I know we're going to have a great show next week because we're going to be talking about Darth Revan. It's going to be Darth Revan Part 1 because Darth Revan is too much to talk about in one episode. Go to geeknewsnow.net. Check us out on YouTube at Geek News Now Official. Check us out on TikTok at Geek News Now, and at the Sith Dominion. You can check me out. I do lives from time to time and always put up some content. So on that note, don't forget about our affiliate, Ripped Apparel. Check them out, link in the bottom. Thank you all for joining. Kat, again, thank you. And you know what? Remember, kids, peace is a lie. There is only passion. And I'm going to mess this up again. I'm not even ready. Like, that was my cue. I should have hit the button. Hold on. Let's try this again. And remember, kids, peace is a lie. There's only passion. Good night. Awesome. Thank you.
Yay!
That was fun.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, my wife is back from her happy hour, so I need to go watch Ahsoka right now.
Yeah, I have to go finish like rebuilding my store. You know,
Right now.
right now.
Thank you so much, Kat.
No problem, Dana. Anytime. Yeah, like I said, I was one of our guys, Alex. He's from Australia.